And I'm telling you, I thought that I gained weight on cruise ships. Clearly, I've not been to a southern household that has lost a loved one in all the food that is there. I've gained more weight than I've ever gained on any cruise ship. Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And this video is going to be a little bit different from the videos you've seen of me creating in the past. It is going to be educational content, which you know that I love, but it's going to take a very personal and maybe at times a bit of a raw approach to what it's like to cruise after the loss of a loved one. So as some of you may have seen or noticed in a post I made on YouTube, and I mentioned it in the live video. If you've not watched that, make sure that you switch over and do check out that live video. But my father, unfortunately, did fall ill at the very beginning of this year and then passed away later on. Now, my dad was my cruising buddy. He was the person that I talked to about every single cruise that I was going to go on, what was happening on those cruise ships. And I would tell him, especially the funny stories when, people watching turned into a really good story, I would tell him about it. He was even more of a people watcher than I am, if you can believe that. He also was the creator of the Weekend Cruiser. So he gave me a GoPro camera probably 2 years before I actually started making videos because he just sensed that there was something in me that would enjoy this. And he would hound me when I would come home on, have I made a video? Had I made a video? And I even brought the GoPro back with me a few times and I never made a video, but I finally did start making those videos you all know about a year and a half ago. And I really enjoyed creating all this content and being able to share that with my father. He even told me one time that, those videos allowed him to still feel like I was present in the house because he'd pull me up in 4K on the living room TV just about every single night. My 4-year-old niece at the time would come over and ask for Uncle Brandon to be on the TV. I was the favorite television show in this house, and it made him feel like I was present, even though my travels were taking me all over the world. And so when you lose somebody that you have such a cruising connection with, or even just, whatever that fun thing or that hobby is for you, it is very difficult to think about moving into what is next. And I don't, say that I know what it's like for you in your situation. If you're watching this video because you've lost a loved one, somebody you may have cruised with, I don't know what your experience is, just like, you probably don't know what my experience is. We know that there is real pain there that we have to figure out how to move past. But moving past it is tough. Since my father has passed, life has kind of stood still a little bit. So as you can see, I'm in North Carolina, still with my family, supporting mom, supporting my brother and his family, being here through this difficult time for us. But it's very difficult for me internally to honestly want to get on here and create YouTube videos right now, to go on another cruise. Because you know what, I feel almost guilty that I'm doing things that are making me happy, or these are things that, me and my father share together. And so there's that raw emotion that is there that really keeps me from wanting to do these things, from wanting to be happy, if you will. Like there's almost a guilt in doing things that make me happy in a world where my father is not here anymore. That is a very tough reality that I am still working through. But where I take comfort, where I take solace, is from all the wonderful people that I've met when I go on cruise ships. So you all have probably seen a few other videos where I have talked about the reason why people go on solo cruises or they go by themselves is sometimes because they've lost a loved one. And I've had the privilege and honor to meet many of these people at this point that have told me their stories on, how they are cruising in memory or in honor of a loved one of theirs. And so I am really holding on to that concept that, you can still be happy. You can do things that remind you of the person that you used to cruise with or you used to have a really strong connection with. There is, a life after that person passes away, and cruising is a really great place to be able to go back and experience, life, to be back out there. My father was my biggest advocate, and in my heart of hearts, I know that he would want me to go back out there and to cruise again, to start making these YouTube videos. The live video that I did was honestly just so I could rip the Band-Aid off and get back out there, put myself out there, and talk about my father a little bit. For me to move past this, me and him have this in common. We like to talk about our problems. We like to talk through them. And you all are a little bit of therapy for me. So for me, My life is on the cruise ships. You all know that I go about every weekend. I try my best to be there every weekend. And so I'm actually going to be going on another sailing this Friday. So that's going to be about 2 weeks after my father passed away. And to some people, that may seem quick. But I know that my father loved the life that I had built for myself, going on these cruises all the time. And we used to joke about, keeping up with my schedule because I am always here. I'm there. What ship am I on? What country am I in? There was kind of a running joke on him trying to keep up with everywhere that I'm going. But I feel like I'm ready to go on a cruise again. And I know that he would support that in me getting back to my life. But what I would say to you, if you're watching this, trying to figure out, what your next step is in your journey to happiness after you've lost your loved one, is make sure that you go on your own time. Do not rush doing whatever it is. Most people probably would not want to go on a cruise 2 weeks after their loved one has passed away. That is something, that for me, that timing is right. But you've got to listen to yourself on that. You want to go when you're able to go, enjoy, and have a good time. If you are still in a grieving phase, or if you're still sad, maybe a little depressed still, being on a cruise ship is not the right spot for you because they can feel very isolating. And so you want to be able to go when you can feel like you can be accepted, you're part of a community, and you're going to fit in, even if you're like me and going as a solo cruiser to now remember that loved one that's not able to go with you anymore. At the end of the day, I am encouraged to know that my father, even though not physically here anymore, is still out there. He's going to be guiding me and coaching me, pushing me to be happy and to do the best that I can in whatever that is that I am doing. And I think that that is getting back on cruise ships for me. I hope for you, if you're watching this after the passing of a loved one, that you're taking all this into account and seeing that it is okay to be sad. It is okay to want to find a way to also be happy in your own time. And then this might give you some encouragement to get back on that cruise ship, taking some of my own advice that I've been giving for a while and never thought I'd have to practice it. But to continue going on cruises, continue doing what you love in honor and in memory of that loved one that has passed away.